Well, Lamar, we're live, sir. Live and talking about something that, well, everyone's talking about it right now, I guess.
Did you get it? That's my Jesus symbolism that Zack Snyder does in every one of his Justice League movies. But
Just about.
yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
Yes.
The interesting thing, so before we even get to the Snyder Cut, we've got to talk about the one that we all saw originally. Was it 2017?
I try to forget that year like last year. But yes, yes, it was.
Okay. So in
Yes.
2000 and whatever, we did indeed see a Justice League movie that was trash, basically. And the whole thing that came along with that.
I mean, it's a weird thing because it was like a puzzle that was put together, but you know how you jam the pieces in where stuff doesn't fit? That was Justice League, and it looked really bad.
Yeah.
So many things, unfortunately, Zack Snyder, I think because, his daughter had passed, so they brought in Joss Whedon, but then Joss Whedon was like, hey, I want to make my own Justice League movie. Pandemonium, bad special effects, bad lip effects, weird story arcs.
What do you mean, Lamar, about bad lips?
Oh, you must have gotten the same CGI that they used. Oh, that's a filter. Okay, yeah.
That's the Superman Justice League filter.
That has to go down as one of the worst special effects of all time.
All time. Which leads to the first topic. Was, despite the money spent on the original Justice League, was
Yes.
it so awful that it falls into the category of starting to become a B movie? Now we have historical, precedent of this. Movies
Yes.
like Battlefield Earth,
Oh God.
Cutthroat Island is another one. Waterworld is another one. Big movies, big actors, but ultimately, as people's perception of them and how they've been remembered, kind of B movie ish.
Yes.
Is Justice League that the theatrical version? Is that a B movie?
I will say this. Yes. But you have to apply a certain logic to it because when you think about B movies, they're kind of cheap, they're exploitive.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go off of those two things because Justice League had special effects that had a lot of money, like you said, but then they looked cheap.
Yeah. They look awful.
And then the exploitive part is not in the subject matter. Well, it kind of is in the subject matter, but it's also kind of more exploitive to, I would say, the fans.
Yeah.
Because this movie, leading to Zack Snyder's cut, the only reason that people wanted to see the Zack Snyder's cut was because they were like, hey, the fanboys, the fangirls wanted to see it for some weird reason, and they exploited that, and we got Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
So I would say this, I think people 20 years down the line, they're going to be like, this is a big budget B movie, strangely enough. So
yeah, I would say this movie, the theatrical cut of Justice League, is right in line with those movies we mentioned before. It's somewhere in between Waterworld and Battlefield Earth.
It is because Battlefield Earth just has a weird story. We might have to cover that one later on.
For sure.
Justice League has a very weird story. Let's run down how things start off. First of all, if you followed Batman versus Superman to this movie, people didn't like Superman, or they didn't like him as much. But when we go to Justice League, everybody's like, oh, because he did give a sacrifice, but people still didn't like him. So that was weird. Right. Another thing is how they get to the villain. Batman is just chasing some guy, and he ties him up. Don't want to take that away from Wonder Woman. Ties him up. And the guy's like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. They sense fear. Who senses fear? The parademons. Where did the parademons come from? Do you know, Joe? In the movie?
In the movie, they never really explain it. It's just the movie just starts.
The movie just starts, and so he kind of destroys the parademon, and then the parademon on the wall shows the 3 mother boxes.
Yeah. And exactly what we just said is one of the big shortcomings of the theatrical cut of Justice League. Everything just happens. There's nothing to explain it. Really, what it's all about is we need a team up movie. We that's it. And how are we gonna get there? I don't know. Why are they teaming up? Doesn't matter. Like, who are they fighting against? Who cares? You know, it's basically what it is.
We're gonna talk about Steppenwolf, but go ahead. Yeah.
So so that's basically it. I mean, that's what the first movie, the theatrical release is. Now, flash forward, all the drama, all the online petitions, all of that.
Yeah.
We finally get the Snyder Cut. We watched it yesterday when it was released.
Yes.
So the question is, did the Snyder Cut save the theatrical B-movie version of Justice League? Did it save it? And if it did, how so? If not, why not? What do you think? Let's dive. This is where we dive deep, because there's a lot of individual elements that can change how we feel about this.
Did it save the original? That's I have to say no, because I will say this. First of all, 4 freaking hours long.
That's tough.
But I think the storytelling was a little bit better in this one. So with that, it just reminded me how crappy the first one was in almost every way. Because the first one, can we do spoilers and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, I guess we'll spoiler alert.
Spoilers, whatever. The way this one opens up is that it kind of just opens up with Superman dying, and then the mother boxes sense it, blah, 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 blah. So it gets you into that. And then we go into the intro back in the day. Everybody teamed up, you know, because that's the underlying thing. Come together, the Beatles, whatever. So that explained it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Now, Steppenwolf. In the first one, Steppenwolf was, as a lot of people thought, a video game villain.
Yeah, he did.
He was just a big CGI thing.
A half-rendered CGI thing, by the way. He didn't look like shit.
Yeah, like he was really bad. And this one, what they did was they didn't make him the main bad guy. He was a henchman for Darkseid.
Right.
That made it better. So,
and not only was he a henchman, but he was a henchman with some motivation. He was trying to redeem himself in the eyes of Darkseid. So at least he had some motivation other than just being the villain.
Motivation, backstory. It's almost like they wrote a character this time or something like that. Yeah, woo. Amazing. So Steppenwolf is better this time. Yes. I was like, okay, cool. Better. He's much better. And going back to the 4 hours, things were a little bit better explained, where everybody came from. Mm-hmm. There were still some dumb moments. So overall, story-wise, I'm going to start with story.
Okay.
I think that you can't really redeem the previous one. It just, they probably looked at the first one and was like, we're going to call that the rough draft. This one, they're like, okay, let's, proofread and everything like that. So that's what I think. Story-wise, I would say it didn't redeem the first one. Yeah. So I
mean, story-wise for me, I think it did. I like the story much better because everything made sense over a sudden. Okay. Over a sudden, like, whoa, why is this guy doing this? Or why is this happening? Like, over a sudden, all that makes more sense. Where, like we said, in the theatrical cut, everything just happened. It's like, well, how did they even, what, why? But this actually makes some sense of it. Yeah, it takes a long time.
Oh, God.
That's the problem. Because you're giving backstory for individual characters, and a villain, you're giving a backstory for a lot of things.
Yes.
And there's a lot. So, and that's the reason why it takes more time. And the time, I understand, is kind of off-putting because it's 4 hours. So, I guess another question would be, before we continue with all that stuff, a side question would be, was there a point in this movie, let's say halfway through, where it could have just been stopped, where this could have been two different movies, like in Infinity Wars and Endgame was two different movies? Was there a point? I didn't really see it. It was pretty continuous. If this was two movies, I think it would be really two really solid movies.
If they change a couple of things, because the way it is, the 4 hour cut, I feel like that's just a super long movie.
Yeah, and it's divided into parts.
And I think when you bring up, of course, because we're always going to compare them to Marvel anyway.
Sure.
Infinity War and Endgame. Infinity War ended on like a big enough climax where you're like,
right. There's a big climax, and that's it. There was never a climax in the middle of this movie.
No.
Where you could stop and say, okay, that was a 2 hour movie. Now for the other 2 hours, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if there was, I think you would have two really I would say this. If this came to some kind of climax in the middle, and you had two movies out of it, I would say the first half would not be as good as Infinity Wars, but the second half would be better than Endgame.
That's fair. That is very much fair. Yes, because in Infinity War and back to Marvel, they have everything set up anyway.
Yeah.
The problem with Justice League is that they have to set up everything in a movie.
Right. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So with Infinity Wars, you were dropped into the story that you're already on that trajectory, where this whole movie, like the first movie, was mostly set up.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it would not be as strong as what Infinity Wars was.
No.
But I think the second half would definitely be better than Endgame.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that it's better than Endgame. Both movies, I think you agree with this, will not be on Infinity War like level.
Right.
So at least better than Endgame. I can see that. Yes.
Okay.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. So we talked about the story being better from the theatrical cut.
Story is better. Sure. Yes.
And yeah. So to go off of story, the individual characters. For one, we'll start with Batman. He's kind of the leader of the Justice League, right?
Yes.
I really like Batman in this cut. Way better. You know, the thing that they were trying their damnedest to do with Batman in the theatrical cut, they were trying to make him Tony Stark, and they were trying to give him the humor, the one-liners and all that.
Yeah.
First of all, that's not him. The character Batman it's not Batman, and it's not Ben Affleck either.
Wait a minute, Joe. It's almost like you know about these characters before the movie. Yes, you're absolutely right, because he's not the quick, snippy. No.
Yeah.
Batman is dark and brooding.
Right. Which is one of the things that they did get right with Batman versus Superman, as awful as that movie has lots of problems. But one of the things that didn't have a problem was they did kind of get Batman right.
Yeah.
But they got him very wrong in the theatrical cut with the forced humor, and there's a lot less of that in this. And when there is humor, it doesn't seem forced because it's just a little quick something or another, right?
Yes.
So I feel like Batman is way better in this cut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Wonder Woman already has 2 movies. So she's kind of always this, I think she's even keeled throughout all of them, right? The character was never awful, and it was never super great, right? She's solid.
I have a theory, though, about this one.
Let's hear it. I like your theories.
I think they kind of cut a little bit out of her character, because in the theatrical cut, internet don't kill me, Gal Gadot isn't the best actress in the world. She has moments where it's like,
You mean when when she gets frustrated.
When they cut out that scene, my heart I was like, oh, yes, they know the truth.
Yeah.
No one wants to say it, but she looks like it. She looks like Wonder Woman. She's an Amazonian woman. And yeah, they kind of cut a little bit out of like her character and stuff like that. I was happy about that. But
yeah. They left.
She's Wonder Woman.
She's always solid, though. I'm saying like solid. The character's never awful.
Yeah.
Same thing with Aquaman. Aquaman's just kind of Aquaman. He's he's all right. He's whatever. The two characters that we need to talk about the most were the two. Let's start with Cyborg.
Okay.
Cyborg, because he's important to the through line of this story because he connects to the mother boxes.
Yes.
In the theatrical cut, it seemed like the only freaking reason why they even put him in the movie was so they can have mother boxes and Steppenwolf and Darkseid, right? But the character himself was very uninteresting. What do you think about the Snyder Cut version of him?
I think they gave him more story and make more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, they gave him like some backstory. They gave him some human aspects. Ha ha, blah, blah, Cyborg. Here's the problem, though, and I've always said this. Cyborg is kind of like the Black Aquaman. No one really cares about Cyborg. Like, just to be honest, like, I would have cared more if it was Jon Stewart as Green Lantern or something like that. But my theory in my own brain is he's kind of, no one wants to say it, but no one really, Cyborg. And it only depends on like the character. I mean, not the character, the actor that's playing him. Ray Fisher, I think, did the best he could in the theatrical cut with what he had, because he had nothing in the theatrical cut, really. In this one, they gave him more like with his family and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know if you ever watched the Teen Titans cartoon. The voice actor, I can't remember his name. He brought a lot of like gravitas to the character and everything like that. Made him kind of cool. He's more of like a techie person. Has more gumption and stuff. Not fitting in with this type of Cyborg, so it's different. But Cyborg overall is kind of like, I don't want to see a movie with him.
I like him better in this one because, first of all, you see his struggle. He had an accident.
Yes.
His father brought him back to life with the technology. But the main thing is you see his struggle with this, like, oh, I have to live my rest of my life like a cyborg. But then he starts to realize the potential that he has with his ability to manipulate technology and stuff. So I think while you say he's the least interesting of the Justice League, I think they set it up in a way with this where maybe not so much, because he's bringing something to the table where in the first movie or the theatrical cut, he's the half robot guy that can fly around and shoot missiles, and he knows about the mother box because that's how he was made. That's about all he was.
Yes.
Now he's like a guy that like, no, I can do this. I can use my technology to do this, and it's like useful.
And I'm like you said, realizing my potential. That was a good story arc.
Yeah.
So that was good. Yes.
I did like that. So I think Batman was better.
Yes.
Wonder Woman, pretty solid. Man. Aquaman is Aquaman.
Man.
Cyborg was better.
Yes.
Flash. I'm on the fence with the Flash.
Really? Because I'm kind of with you, but I feel like he's a little bit better. But go ahead. But there's only... Nah.
He's a little bit better in this movie. I think that the character himself of Flash, he's more supposed to be a little more wisecracking guy. He's almost... He knows he's the fastest man, and he enjoys being the fastest man. He kind of revels and he's arrogant about it almost. That's kind of what makes the Flash good. Okay, so this is kind of different. You know, this version of the Flash, he's more he's not so social. He doesn't have social skills. all that. But I do feel like he was better in this movie. He was less unsure of himself because they had a whole rigmarole in the theatrical cut where he was like, "I've never saved anybody." He goes to Batman. He's like, "I've never saved anybody before. What do I do?" And he was like, "Just save one," or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, but it was like it was already implied that he has saved people.
Yes.
So that whole thing was dumb. At least in this movie, he was already utilizing his skills, to help people or whatever, which led to a funny scene. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
I think I texted you about this.
You did.
I was like, this is the most pretentious shit I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
Oh, God. Let's just go through the scene. So he's applying for a job.
Yep.
And they kind of bring like that lack of social skills into this one, which it's not. I agree with you. It's a little bit better, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Because he goes to an interview with a folded up resume. And then he's like, "Oh, like resume, like French." So he's acting awkward.
Yeah.
But then he eyes this girl who was supposed to be, what's her name? Iris West, I think. If I said her name wrong, I'm sorry. But they eye each other. They love each other. And then she gets into an accident. Then he turns into the Flash, saves her life.
Yeah.
But the way it's shot is just like, oh my God, we get it. Slow motion. Like, it was just like,
pretentious, I think, is the best way you described it. Because it's like, you kind of get it. Like, he's moving so fast that everything is like in slow motion to him.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We get that. And it's like, but this is so drawn out with like every little detail. And then the song that's playing in the back. And you just the whole thing. It's a bit much. It was a bit much.
I thought they were about to do the Bollywood thing and just break out in song and dance, Joe. Like, make a little music number.
It wasn't far from being a Bollywood type of scene, honestly.
All the bright colors and everything and the light show, and I'm just like, it was just really. I get why they did that to offset the character from being unsure of himself all the time,
right?
Which is better. But yeah, man, I was just like, hurry up. He saves her. Okay, whatever. Move on. They were trying to do the X-Men. Which one is it? With Quicksilver. They were trying to do the Quicksilver scene, but that's funny.
Yeah.
He's messing with people because that's his character. Right. In this one, it's just, I'm so fast. I'm a hero. I'm going to save this woman because I'm the Flash. Look at me. I'm better than you. Like, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, that scene was too. It was too much. It was too much. It was
so much.
You could have scaled that back. But overall, I think they did better with him. He was definitely, more sure of himself, like we said. There was a pretty good scene towards the end where they were trying to do the thing to save everybody and stuff, and he had to make his electrical charge, build up his charge, and he gets injured. Yes. So, and that was like, in this movie, it was like, because in the end of the theatrical cut, it was just some dumb thing where he was helping this family get away on a pickup truck, and he just had to run fast to push their truck. And he had to run fast. He was always just running fast to do some nonsensical thing just so he's fast, just so we know he's fast.
Yes.
Like, he's running away from the whatever that crap was that was following everyone around, that awful CGI.
Yeah.
Where in this movie he was running fast because there was a purpose for it.
Yes, there was a purpose for it, and the slow motion in that scene makes sense because the stakes are higher.
Right.
Yes.
So, another one, like, definitely an improvement there, I would say. Where you had a character that was kind of, jokey in a lot of ways, and now he's, respectable. So yeah, an improvement in there. What about? So we talked about Steppenwolf, the threat of Darkseid.
Yes.
Ultimately, is supposed to be the thing that's like the thing that's looming, and the thing that will potentially make this Snyder DC universe thing continue. Maybe
whatever they want to call it. I think they're trying to call it Snyderverse now or something like that. Like.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe is uninterested in Snyder. Yeah, and that's another thing. With this movie, can they continue on? Because I don't know. I don't know if it made me get on that train. That's the thing. Like, I respect this 4-hour cut, but it's kind of like, ooh, do I want to see more of the DC cinematic universe?
I would say for me, yes.
You would?
I do like it. I like that. I like that Steppenwolf was he was a henchman, but he was the main threat of this movie. With him kind of reporting back to Darkseid and the rest of the villains.
Yeah.
So it wasn't overbearing. When they said that Darkseid was going to be in this movie, I thought it was going to be a whole thing, like villains everywhere.
Yeah.
Kitchen sink. No, it was mostly Steppenwolf. You got little tastes of the other villains. And they did leave it off where that villain, because the mother boxes was part of this storyline. Now Darkseid has a motivation, of course, still of what he needs to accomplish to be victorious.
Yes.
So I and that goes back to the main point. Characters need motivation.
Yes.
And a motivation is not just as simple as he wants to destroy the world. That's not good enough.
Exactly.
It's not, and that's what makes Thanos such a great character, is because Thanos, in his mind, he wasn't a villain. In his mind, he was helping everyone, and he could not understand why other people don't understand that he was trying to help them by doing what he was doing. So he was interesting. He had a motivation. He had something that he was constantly trying to get to. And I think potentially Darkseid has that as well.
Yes.
And the rest of the villains that are involved in that. So I would say the threat is there, where I would say, if they made a movie, I like the threat. Why not?
Okay. Because, like, I will say this. They are probably going to try to do the Thanos route, and they have to do it at least well, because people are going to be like, well, it's not good as Thanos. So maybe we learn more about Darkseid. Yes. More than him just attacking the world and everything like that. Maybe we learn, more about his henchmen and everything like that. Right. So they can go. Now, do you want to see movies with the other characters?
Well, here's what I would recommend if I was if it was the Joe verse.
The Joe verse. I like this one. The Joe verse.
If I was orchestrating this whole thing,
yes,
I actually don't feel like the next movie should be the Darkseid movie.
Okay.
Something that they established in this movie was Lex Luthor is still alive, of course, and he's out of Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
And also you have Deadshot, right?
Deathstroke.
Why did I say shot?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. My bad.
Yeah.
So either you can have him in a standalone Batman movie, or you can have a full Justice League movie with Lex and him as the kind of sub-villain. I think I prefer that.
Yeah.
And save Darkseid for a little bit later. Let's continue to develop.
What if the next Justice League movie is Lex Luthor establishing the dun Legion of Doom?
Yeah, I would like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I because that was one of the things about going back to Thanos was they teased him early on in the other Marvel movies. It was always this thing that was, they never outright said it maybe, but it was always kind of looming there. Everyone knew about it. So we got Steppenwolf to follow it up immediately with Darkseid. I think would be a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
but a good like Lex Luthor movie, I could deal with that.
Yes,
and kind of save it, but continuing to build.
Yes, build some stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was the flaw of the original theatrical cut. There was nothing built. It was just there. Now they have an actual opportunity to, okay, I'm going to give you this 4-hour Snyder cut. You did some good shit there. Now, what can you build on it? Don't just, shoot your load on it or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I would like to see more. I do.
Okay. Now here's the next question, because they brought it back. The nightmare sequences.
Yeah. Well, we got a little more, though.
What is it?
Because there was some... the nightmare sequences tying into Flash.
Yes.
And this time around, we got to see more of the alternate universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he said there was a line in the movie, I can't remember exactly, where he kind of hinted at that it was less of a nightmare, more of a, forethought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a premonition.
Premonition, yes.
Yes.
So potentially a future movie is going to be this kind of alternate reality that they need to set back. Which leads into the big cameo of the Joker, which everyone saw in the trailer and went berserk over. Controversial. Now, here's the thing. We never said this at the beginning of this. When this whole thing was announced, the Snyder Cut, when we saw the trailer, we've been talking shit about this movie for months leading up to this. And
non-stop.
we have. And one of the things that we poo-pooed all over was that the Joker was going to be in this movie. I feel different after seeing it. I like that scene a lot.
You like that scene a lot?
I really
Why do you like it?
Well, I mean, once again, everyone, spoiler alerts, all this. Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, get HBO Max for 1 month.
He's having the nightmare vision or whatever.
Yeah.
It's presumed that they're in this alternate reality. Aquaman is dead.
Yes.
Wonder Woman, where's she? We don't know. Superman apparently is a villain because Lois Lane is dead and he's gone berserk.
Yeah.
It looked like there was a different Flash.
Is it a different Flash or does he have like a beard?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was a different guy.
I don't know.
He's different.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Joker's there. And he reveals to Batman, or they come to an agreement that in order to set that, not only does Batman have to set this universe, but he's trying to set other realities back to fix them, and he couldn't do it. And the only way he can do it is to team up with the Joker.
And Deathstroke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was there, too. So, I like that. I do like that.
Here's my thing. I'm torn. Because I feel like it's almost overkill. Because we already have Darkseid. We already have Lex Luthor.
Right.
I feel like, on one hand, I'm just like, are they... This just nightmare sequence? Is this just like some cool, pretty thing that they're doing and teasing and stuff like that or whatever? But on the other hand, it's kind of like, what if they just flipped everything? They just said, forget what, you know what, Darkseid or whatever, that's not the problem. Superman becomes evil.
Yeah.
So they're flipping this whole, because how long has Superman been around? Like dang near 100 years.
He's been around.
They're flipping this idea that Superman is the whole truth and justice, everything like that, turning it back to saying that maybe Batfleck and Lex Luthor were right. That he does become evil because he's so powerful.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm torn. I want to see what happens, but it's like, I don't know if I like it yet.
Yeah.
But...
Well,
I would watch that movie.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely.
I would watch it.
I mean, the whole idea of the alternate realities and all that, I think
Yeah.
you have to have Lex in there. I think he's got to be the orchestrator of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
Yeah.
I think somehow he's going to orchestrate that, and of course, the linchpin of it all is Lois Lane, which ultimately is what's going to lead Superman to become evil or whatever. So Lex is important to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to what I said before. I don't think you do Darkseid just yet. He's a part of that.
Okay.
Alternate reality maybe, but he's not the big fisticuff villain yet. It's got to be Lex.
And that's the other half where it's like they're teasing so many little things where it's like it's not going to be Darkseid that's the big villain. It's going to be Superman in his post-apocalyptic tyrannical reign over humanity.
Yeah.
And by the way, this would be better if Lois Lane was more interesting. I'm sorry. I'm still going to be mad that
Yeah. She's not in this movie, this cut as much. Just some of the same scenes that were in the theatrical version carried over to this, so those must have been Snyder scenes already.
Yeah.
But in this movie, her only real purpose is when they bring Superman back to life and he's berserk. When he sees her, he calms down, which that's really her only function in this movie, right?
Well, it's because Lois Lane has in this universe, the superpower of being so boring that you calm down Superman out of his rage. Because,
he's like Frankenstein when
the
little girl hands him a flower, remember? So, unfortunately, the Lois Lane character in the last couple movies where she's more just there to get herself in trouble so Superman can do something.
Yeah.
And they could do a lot better with her, I think, going forward.
She's a snarky character. Yeah. She's supposed to be like, I guess what you would say, the 20th century woman. She don't need a man. She's independent to be the foil to Superman, who he is in love with because he's a humble guy. But this, even having Amy Adams, who's a great actress.
Right.
It's almost like she has the same problem that Ray Fisher had in the first movie. She's great, but they give her nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's like, if you're going to go out and fit the bill to have a quality actress like her, why not write her something good? You know what I mean? She's like literally constantly the damsel in distress. It's like, you could get anybody to do that. Why?
Yes.
So they got to step it up with her and make her better.
What if that's the whole thing? They realize they made a big mistake and they're like, we're just going to kill off.
You'll kill her off.
We'll just kill her off. That'll give her some purpose.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But, it is a cool linchpin. And I want to see, I'll say it. Before I see the Darkseid movie, I want to see evil Superman movie.
Okay.
I want to see this because I want to see little kids are going to see this. Sometimes you got to crush their dreams. Go ahead and just make Superman evil. Yeah. I want to see that movie.
You don't crush their dreams because in the end, he'll come back somehow. They'll get him back. But the thing about it is like Superman is I don't want to say Superman is an uninteresting character, but his character is the most one-dimensional, I would say.
Right.
Not like, because Batman, he's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Superman is just Superman. He's just like Superman. So to turn him evil for, 80% of a movie until the end, it makes it shakes it up a bit, I like it.
Yeah. We'll see. That's Lamar verse. I want to see evil Superman.
Yeah.
Evil freaking Superman. I want to see. That's what they call it too. Justice League.
Yeah.
Evil Superman.
What did you think about the Joker scene as a whole, though? Like, just I was never. Listen, I don't think I'm in the minority to saying this. I was never crazy about the Jared Leto Joker.
Yes.
I like this scene though.
I do like the scene. I'm still not sold on Jared Leto like you as Joker, but I'm shocked to see. Not shocked. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah,
because it has that desperation that Batman has to go like that far, you know, to save whichever like multiverse he's in.
Yeah.
So that's something that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the scene. I liked his delivery was good. I liked the dialogue that they were putting forward and the way he said it, and the way Batman was reacting to him, where he wanted to bust him up, but he knew he couldn't because he needs him.
He needs him for some reason.
Needs him for some reason. So yeah, I thought it was a really good scene. I was surprised because I was, we all saw it in the trailer. And it was getting close to the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, here it comes. I was like, what is this going to be? And I was waiting for it to be garbage. And when I saw it, I was like, I liked it.
So. Yes. So
also another big reveal, one that wasn't in the trailers, but it was Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
What did you think about that? That was it almost seemed random at first.
It was pretty random, but then I guess he is a big part of the Justice League. I think he's more of like the, I'm from outer space for real kind of guy. So it's a nice little addition. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, it revealed like, it wasn't like Nick Fury at the beginning of like Iron Man. Okay, it's more like, oh, Martian Manhunter. I know who that is.
Yeah, it was good the character that turns into him. So I was like, all right. I was like, that's. At first, I was like a little random, just to throw it in there over a sudden. But then he ended up coming back for a second scene, which made it a little better. If they didn't have that second scene in there, I would have been like, well, that was just kind of random, just to toss that in there. But the second scene kind of solidified it a little bit. I was like, all right, that was
yes.
Cool. So overall, so I guess let's just say this, because we've been at it for almost 50 minutes here. So, what is Lamar's final thoughts on this? What about the whole thing? Your feelings
about the whole
Justice League? Do you like it? Do you love it? Are you mad?
I liked the 4-hour movie. I would watch it again if I, had a couple of days to recover, because it is a quality movie. It's not Infinity War,
right?
But I get what they're doing. If they do this in Lamar's sicko universe, they make Superman evil.
Yeah,
I'll be like, this was a great turning point. I will like it a lot. So I feel like, okay. I'll say it. You can start from this point. You can potentially save the DCEU with this movie. Zack Snyder just needed to put, a little of his touches on it. And man, we need a supercut of how much we trashed.
We've trashed him over the. We have.
God, because I was just like, because you told me 4 hours, and then it was some bunch of stuff, but I was slightly surprised. Okay, let's see what happens next. I am intrigued. I will say this. I'm not like stark raving crazy. I'm intrigued. I will say that.
Okay.
Yes.
I really liked it a lot, actually. It definitely changed my mind, not only from the crappy Justice League movie that we saw in the theater, but it changed my mind for a lot of the movies that came before it. Like I would probably I was never real big on Man of Steel. We've talked about that amongst ourselves, and I was so disappointed with Batman versus Superman. I feel like I would go back and watch those movies again and appreciate them a little bit more because of this movie. Wonder Woman, I was fine with already. They didn't offend me. Aquaman was just kind of meh. So yeah,
he's grunge Aquaman. That's who he is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But this movie, I really, really liked it. Everything about it was better. The CGI was better. The action was better.
Yeah, it was better. Yeah.
Yeah, it was long, but like you said, if you just watch it in parts or whatever as you go, I don't know, man. I think I was never real high on Zack Snyder, but this movie I think is really great. I know, we talked about this. We reviewed for one of our episodes. We reviewed Excalibur.
Yes, we did.
Zack Snyder was a huge fan of Excalibur growing up. It's like the movie that influenced him probably more than anything. It's actually in Batman versus Superman when Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. Um, and I think he was setting out to make his Excalibur, his epic.
Yes.
And I would say with this movie, I think, you know what? I think he did it. I think he really did. This was actually really good.
I agree. This is his Excalibur. Yeah.
It's his Excalibur. And, like we said, we trashed this whole idea of this movie for months when we talk with ourselves when we do our podcast. But it's like, I don't know. I think we were wrong. I'm willing to say it. We were wrong. This was good.
I will agree with you because I was thinking this is going to be the worst. Yeah. 4 hours, but
right.
The way he did it, Marvel, you might want to watch out because you might lose your little cinematic universe spot if they do it. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they allow him to continue on this path.
Yes.
And if he also restrains himself somewhat, because I've heard some stories about some crazy shit that he was looking to do. So, I think they got something, you know what I mean?
They do have something. They have something. And like I said, Marvel, you guys kind of had your moment. All the DC universe has to do is gain momentum.
Yeah,
because now Marvel has to maintain.
Yeah, they hit their peak with Infinity Wars and Endgame. So it's kind of like now they're just kind of they are just kind. They're still they are existing on the fumes of those movies still.
Exactly. Yes.
Where Justice League DC can really only go up, and a movie that I guess did well, but wasn't considered one of the big movies, but I liked a lot was Shazam. I did.
A lot of people like Shazam.
It was a good, just all around fun movie, good time. If they bring Shazam into the fold with Justice League, will be interesting. I don't know if that's something that they do later on. You still can bring in a Green Lantern. We got a lot to go. And you can still do another Aquaman to kind of make that a little more interesting.
Yep.
They can do another Wonder Woman, but they're going to have to step their game up with her.
Gal Gadot.
Well, I mean, not even just her. I mean, she's still going to be a solid Wonder Woman because she's got the.
She will be.
It's just the 1984 movie, the storyline, the whole thing with that was just real. They missed the mark with that. They were very close with the first one.
Yes,
that was solid. It was. I think the only thing about that movie for me was that it had a little bit of a drag to it. It was good. I liked when they were doing stuff.
Yes,
it was good. And then, but sometimes it would drag. But I still think it's a solid movie. The 1984 one, I was like, eh. So if they do another Wonder Woman, they need to step it up with her because she's in one. I always look at it as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they're the three title characters.
So you got to step it up.
Now, what have we not seen out of that trio is a Batman movie.
That's true.
Now, I will say this. Well, we already said spoilers. Deathstroke.
Yeah.
He knows a little bit more about Batman.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting.
So that might be an interesting movie. And Batfleck has some potential.
Yeah.
Even though we have another Batman movie.
Yeah, well, that whole thing with the different Batmans and this and that, and Who knows how it's going to play out? It definitely looks like when they're talking about alternate realities, it looks like there's no way of getting around having to do a Flash movie to set up the Flashpoint paradox. Because that's ultimately what it is, right? So, so that, which is fine. I wouldn't be opposed to him having his own movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, a Ben Affleck Batman movie would be fine. I mean, like I said, they got to leave the character. I think he's in a good spot. He's that older kind of, he's lost hope with humanity Batman, and he's just well, speaking of Batman, Alfred was better in this movie as well.
Yeah, he wasn't the jokester that they tried to make like Ben Affleck in like Justice League. He's more like straightforward to the point, kind of a mentor to Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Right. In the theatrical cut of this movie, Alfred, he didn't come across like an Alfred. He didn't come across like that old guy that kind of raised Bruce Wayne and really cared about him and all that. He didn't have that. he just seemed like this snarky British guy that passes remarks or something, you know?
I'm just here for my job, okay?
Yeah. In this movie, he had more to do.
Yes.
When Batman was in trouble, he seemed worried. When good things were happening, when the team was coming together, he seemed proud or happy for Batman. And there was a funny little thing where when he brings all the other members of the Justice League into the Batcave and he introduces them to Alfred. He says, "I work for Alfred."
Yes.
That was kind of funny. So
that was funny.
And that's a good, like, where the humor is not forced. You know, it's just a little line that's kind of like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're approaching an hour, so we'll start wrapping up. So ultimately, like we said, we were wrong. this was good. It was good.
It was. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's gonna be 4 hours, but it wasn't like 4 hours of pain. It was 4 hours of, oh, this is interesting. I was wrong about it being a total crap show. So
for sure.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, we're still in the month of March as we're filming this, which means we're still celebrating our Irish friends, which means we're going to watch a Leprechaun movie.
Of course. And what Leprechaun movie are we going to watch?
The only one that you need to see, Lamar, Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yes.
The best one, apparently, from what everyone tells us. So
everybody tells us Leprechaun, because there's like 6, and everybody's like, Leprechaun in the Hood. You gotta watch that one.
So everyone look out for that. We're going to be recording that, and it'll be out Monday, which will be what day? Monday, the 22nd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that'll be out. Leprechaun in the Hood, our review and reaction to that. So, but yeah, cool. Well, youtube.com/Perfect Turd Podcast, right?
Yes.
All right, then. Well, peace.
Deuces. Yeah.